Good morning and welcome to Uganda First, a program that we hope is instilling patriotism. Today is International Anti-Corruption Day, and we want to highlight the fact that corruption is one of those biggest obstacles in achieving development. We have talked about corruption on this show for a number of times, and we have always stressed it that people who engage in corruption, including theft of government money, are not only inconsiderate to this country, but also unpatriotic. Uganda is a pearl of Africa, and that describes the uniqueness of this country, the excellence in the different sectors since independence. Therefore, if we believe that we are unique and excellent as a country, each one of us should endeavor to fight and stop the problems hindering us from further development. Thank you for joining us. We're here up to noon. Honorable Bahinduka Mugara Martin, the State Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, is in studio with us. Thank you for coming, sir. And Mr. Isaiah Jobs Rwanyikiro, the CEO and founder of Breathtaking Uganda, is also here with us. Today we're talking about Uganda, the pearl of Africa. Why the pearl? What should we do to nurture this pearl? What should we do to make sure that this excellence that we pride in continues to even grow more? Honorable Minister, thank you for coming.
Welcome. Thank you for having me, Mr. Olusimbi, and good morning, viewers.
All right. And Mr. Jobs, maybe I should start from at least the minister. We know what the ministry is all about generally, but Jobs, Breathtaking Uganda. What is it about? I read and read again, but I told myself the man is coming himself, so he will tell us the story. Just briefly about Breathtaking Uganda.
So Breathtaking Uganda is, in brief, it's all about three things. We do tourism promotion, we're using innovations, digital space innovations, and then we also do actually take Ugandans around Uganda, give them the experience of exploring Uganda, visiting Uganda, loving Uganda, seeing all these nice, beautiful, breathtaking locations that I personally have visited almost across the entire country, and I've seen how breathtaking and beautiful they are, and I would love to make sure that at the end of the day, every Ugandan gets to see what I have seen, God willing.
So you're making use of the social media space?
Social media spaces, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Eventually, when we hopefully it will be opened up one day. The minister is here, the big man. He will talk to the big man. Because we need these tools. Maybe we can create our own. That's also one thing we are working on, to create innovations that will make it easy for Ugandans to travel and experience Uganda and share their experiences with fellow Ugandans. Because we see a lot of interest has been generated by most especially the young people who are very active like yourself on Twitter, Instagram, and all these other social media spaces. When they travel, you see them taking all these selfies on River Nile, at the Maxon Falls, in Windy with the gorillas, and they share on their pages, and then some of these things tend to go viral. So there is a lot of appetite for people, because in the recent past we have also seen that now travel is a big trend. A lot of young people aspire to travel. It gives them validation. It makes them feel good. It makes them. It's something that makes them really shine or stand out among their peers.
Okay. All right. I welcome you once again
to
the show, which is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co. Honorable Minister, in the last nearly 2 years, tourism has lost about 3.9 trillion shillings. That's a lot of money. We know that it's a big foreign exchange earner. And here we are. We're still talking about COVID. The conversation is on as you recover from Delta, Omicron hits. And I think this is not about to stop. But what's our path to recovery like of late?
Thank you, Mr. Olusimbi, and I'm glad to find Isaiah here. He's someone who loves the sector. He has been, like I said, tourism is not only business of government; it's business with the private sector, and we partner well to make sure that we promote this.
In fact, largely it's with private actors like him.
Yeah, so we work together to promote destination Uganda and create a very good enabling environment for them to work better. And that's why we focus on the infrastructure. And I want to thank even the other ministries that we partner with. It's not only us, so they provide the infrastructure, security, like of course, for instance, when we had these challenges of the bombs.
Yes.
And thank God we've not been affected so much, probably because of the quick response from the security sector, and we've been able to put the country back, probably to have everyone move peacefully within the country. Yeah, so indeed we were hit, not only in Uganda, world over, because of the coronavirus, and we lost quite an amount of money. A number of our people got out of jobs. A number of people, the tour operators, the hotel owners lost business. Some have even probably lost hotels to money lenders, to the banks or banking institutions that were demanding them. So it's been a challenge, but thank God we are slowly recovering as the world globally opens up. People have started moving, and we've seen an increase in the number of tourists coming into the country. But most importantly, what COVID has taught us is to focus on domestic tourism. And that's where the Isaiah has come in, trying to create packages that are friendly to the Ugandan traveler. So the only thing that will make the sector more resilient going forward is going to be definitely the promotion of the domestic tourism. So we are focusing on it much, we are marketing it, and we are still imploring Ugandans, please travel, love this country. Don't only look at those countries out there. I mean, Uganda is more beautiful than most. I'm just from somewhere out there. Winter, I couldn't wait to come back to Uganda because of the good weather. So Ugandans, let's travel. There are good packages for you. Like I'm saying, interest into a national park is just 20,000 Uganda shillings. Very easy. If the amount is sold. We're just doing the mathematics. That would be. So let's focus on it. Let's try to promote. And I'd thank who that we're partnering with. Of course, what we are looking at that has been a hindrance has been the pricing of accommodation in the protected areas. But of course, like what we are doing now, we are trying to open up more space, trying to call in, we advertised recently, trying to have in another number of private players come and build more accommodation in these parks, so the prices can go down. But who has also come up with very good packages to entice the local. For instance, Mr. Alison.
Or maybe before you give us that example, I'm going to come back to you, Jobs. The minister is talking about encouraging people to travel within Uganda, visit different destinations, enjoy the country, have experience. But what is stopping Ugandans from visiting places within Uganda? It's not yet at a level where we wish it can be.
There are some, what we would call...
If you say there is a trip to go to Dubai, for example, a person who has never even been to the Owen Falls Dam, Chira or they will pay a lot of money to go to Dubai, before visiting, these places that we have that are even more beautiful than Dubai itself.
So I will throw from a journalistic, from a public relations, from a marketing and marketing communication angle, and from also a psychological point of view, I will say that for many Ugandans, they have grown up here in Uganda. They have grown up with these wild animals. For many of them, some of them have literally seen them as, in quotes, as a nuisance, eating their crops,
especially
and
those on the
periphery of the national parks. And so for them to travel, to spend money, and go and see wild animals in Maction Falls, or go and see the Umugachira or Karangara or Lake Victoria, is like telling someone, I mean, we all have grown up around these lakes. So there is still, for me, I blame it on the way we have communicated, or the way we have marketed the tourism. So the challenge has been that for many years, the sector has positioned Uganda, to attract the foreign travelers, the Bazungu. And because of that, everything was configured in such a way that it was there to serve the Bazungu. the hotels in the parks, the activities in the parks, everything across the entire tourism value chain in Uganda was done to serve the Muzungu. For the last 60 years, Uganda next year is going to be celebrating the Diamond Jubilee. What we as Ugandans have literally done nothing to do what we call buy bubu.
Buy Uganda, build Uganda.
So tour Uganda, love Uganda, tour Uganda. So you will find that until recently when I started talking about these things many years ago, when we in 2010 and in various small fora with discussions with friends, and many of them, they didn't understand this then. And I thank God for me. Unfortunately, COVID came, but it was a bad thing, but it has also been a good thing. It finally delivered the message home that, you know, you can go to Dubai, or you can go to Diani Beach in Zanzibar, wherever you go, but if we just configured a little bit the tourism facilities or attractions we have in Uganda, we shall actually be able to enjoy them. We shall actually be able to have fun around Uganda. But you also need to understand the psychographic of Ugandans. When they travel, they're not like Muzungu. Ugandans love to party. They love to drink beer. They love music. They love to travel with beautiful women. So if you give them that environment of beautiful women, Chwanda started this and people almost killed him on River Chwanda when he did Miskavi. We looked and said, okay, but you know, one day we'll get there. But these are the real things I'm telling you that Ugandans love. If you give a trip where you have music, boom boxes, and people now, the travelers, you see these things on social media. They're even buying big, you know, that they roll on wheels, big JBL speakers. When they reach the parks, they don't want to do the usual the Muzungu thing where the Muzungu comes to disconnect and plug. That's how they recharge. But for Ugandans, the way they recharge is we are high energy, we are high powered people. We want to dance, we want to jump around, we want to, you know, do things in a slightly different way. And when we started taking Ugandans some of these hotels, some of them, and we've had this feedback and we continue to engage the hotel owners, they would say, Ugandans, you know, you come with your boom boxes, you want to make noise, we have our Zungu have paid so many dollars, they don't want noise. You come when it's breakfast time, you want to eat 10 sausages. And
we still have
and then we tell these people, yeah, Ugandans love food, and it's our thing. We love to eat good food because we have a variety. The country is endowed with lots of food. As you can see, Ruombo, buffet is our thing. Even Kenyans, when they come here, they don't understand why someone should go to a hotel and there's this whole lineup of like 10 different dishes.
That you can easily get.
That you can eat, and even people eat Ruombo, you know Ruombo, so many things packed in one. So this is who we are. So when we travel, we want to be given and to be treated as Ugandan. We don't want to get to these hotels and I'm a Ugandan and you want to force me into the
Bazungu style.
The Bazungu lifestyle, which is very alien to me. Also, we must understand that for many Ugandans today, the travel is a taste they are beginning to acquire. Travel is an acquired taste. It's not something that it's something that you start slowly. When you do once, you see the benefits, then you do it again, and eventually it becomes a habit.
Okay.
So for many Ugandans in that space, in the travel space today, because of the dynamics of social media, like I said, they are beginning to acquire this taste. But as they acquire this taste, there's this pushback from the traditional sector. People have had a stronghold on the sector by saying, these Ugandan people,
All right, Honorable Bahinduka, from his submission, I get this thought that we need to reposition our strategies in order to attract Ugandans themselves to visit Uganda.
Well,
you agree?
Yeah, I do agree, and of course, it's something that you're trying to work on. Even other challenges, I'll talk about just human resource. If someone went to Dubai in probably just a middle-class hotel, he would get a very good service, have a good waiter, you know, there would be some attention to the client, which has been different in Uganda. I mean, so if a Ugandan is in Uganda as well, if you want to travel to a certain destination, you should be able to get that first-class treatment. So we are trying to also address the issue of human resource And that's why we have a training institute in Jinja that is trying to train the best human resource out there, so that when they come, the Ugandan can feel this street. So there is no reason why we would have gone elsewhere. So we are trying to create a competitive human resource that can serve, that would give service that you'd get elsewhere in the world. And I think it would be one of the solutions probably to solve, to encourage more Ugandans to travel within the country. Secondly, of course, and like you said, focusing on the type of product that we have to market to the Ugandan. Of course, we know that we have a very young population. I mean, almost 80% of the population is below the age of 30. So what product do you have to give them? And that's what he's talking about. Ugandans are crazy. They have a different way of travel. And of course, we're employing the rest of the hotel owners. Some understand this, really. Let's have space for them, so that they also enjoy in the way they would want to enjoy. But also, of course, tourism is not only, and that's why we are trying to develop even other products. It's not only about the wild animals, the zoos. There is a lot. There is the culture. If you went to Mbale, see the Wagisu. For instance, if you left Uganda and went to Ankole and see what their culture is, recently,
there is a lot, really.
Yeah, recently we were doing a Choto Hampango in Toro. It was a big thing. A number of people went and experienced, trying to understand each other. And there's a lot. If you went to some areas, actually with him at some place called Gahiza Island somewhere, and you just understand the stories about these things.
But you know, Narabo, these are things that have been happening. I mean, we are used to the culture, celebrations, and what have you. But for me, I think there has to be a shake-up of some kind. I remember your predecessor used to have a, what was it? Tulamble. I don't know, Chapati, what was it? Rolex
Festival.
Yeah, and I saw youth excited about this, and I'm like, yes, I think we're trying to hit the right point. But if we continue talking about the culture, yes, it is there with us. We experience it every day. Somebody needs something new. Why should I go to Jinja? What is there? Is there a festival that can take me there? If it is there and I like it, yes, I'll go there. After the festival, maybe I can visit a museum there. I can visit the Chabazinga head office and that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course I agree. And like I'm saying, of course, we came into the ministry during COVID. COVID has been a bad thing. For instance, there was something in Jinja called Nyege, a crazy festival with so many. Some of the things cannot be, were not being able to probably be organized at the time because of the limitations that COVID created in the previous 2 years. But like I'm saying, really, I think there is a lot that we can still promote. And I don't believe that Ugandans, by the way, have not traveled much. I would say 90%.
That is very true.
Because honestly, if you look at the figures, and this is the honest bit, you know, we all sit here and say, no, I know so much, but in the actual sense, you don't, because you have not moved. If you look at the figures, let's say of the 1.5 million travelers that we talk about, okay, within
that come into the country,
within whether domestic or whatever it is, I can assure you Ugandans, because still Ugandans contribute, I think, around almost 10%. But of the 10%, 80% are the ones that go to the zoo, the students and the rest. I think we even contribute less than 10% of the travelers within the country, which has to change somehow. Despite, well, we have to do a lot to create a number of packages for the Ugandans, a number of activities over a period of time, but they should also develop the culture of traveling, even with the little that we have for now. You know, let's pick some interest. Let's see, and there is a lot to enjoy. That's what I keep telling people. If you go to your kids, for instance, and move them to even if you move them to the zoo, trust me, I have done it. It's an experience they'll never forget, because these are cartoons they see on TV, they see lions, but once you take them there and they get the actual experience. So let's start with this little that we have. But I want to thank God that they will be opening up next year in January, and I think we are going to be, because there are so many activities that are pending. We are launching a new brand to do with the Ugandan tourism sector, both internationally and locally, that we are going to promote aggressively, with all the different packages that that are there to offer within all these other regions, in all the different sectors, even agriculture, tourism, and all this. So I want to thank God that things are getting better, but I want to implore Ugandans, please participate, be a part of us. And I want to thank the media houses as well, because of course currently, and all the social media players, everyone is talking about Destination Uganda, and I can assure you the numbers are changing. Isaiah shared with you, I think right now we have almost 100% hotel occupancy bookings up to January, mostly by Ugandans. So the culture is growing. Let's just continue talking about it and marketing up. But we have lined up a number of packages. We're going to continue to Lamblay in January. We shall be picking one of the routes, I think the eastern region. And we're going to call everyone to come and participate with us and market to enjoy this beautiful country called Uganda.
I hear you. Sounds excellent. If we can actually do it, I think it will create a difference. And you know, Ugandans only travel because of work. You find yourself in Arua. Personally, I've traveled to so many places in Uganda because of journalism.
Yeah.
You find yourself at the other border, then this one. That's how we get to see things. But if we make it deliberate, I think there will be a difference. But again, Honorable Minister, how is there any incentive that you give to Ugandans who would like to travel around the country? For example, VAT on accommodation, transport fares themselves, like in this season, December especially, December up to the second week of January. I think you should think of incentives for Ugandans only.
Oh yes, and I agree. And I think the biggest hindrance really, like I've said, has been accommodation. I mean, most of these, let's say, lodges within the protected areas, the cheapest you'll get for accommodation is around $200. Even for me as a minister, that's ridiculous. I wouldn't easily pay that money, and very few Ugandans can afford
200 a night.
Yes, a night. 200, even $700. Well, we need, of course, there are some high-end travelers that would pay $1,000 willingly from out there. And that's why I've said, one of the reasons why we've been having this problem is because we have limited lodges in the protected area. So they have a monopoly, you know, that's why they create exorbitant prices. Even when we try to engage them, you know, we're at their mercy, you know. But now, what we've agreed with UWA as a policy, like I said, we advertised for more beds, for more spaces within the areas. We are going to have more lodges constructed in most of these parks. In February, again, we are going to re-advertise. So when we have a bigger number of accommodation, then the prices will automatically go down.
Who constructs? Private actors?
The private actors. What we are doing is advertising, showing them that it's space here, please come and construct. And of course, we are focusing on mainly the Ugandan investors, not the foreigners, to come and construct this accommodation. So this will bring the price down. Once that price is down, then it's easier for Ugandan. But nevertheless, even as we speak now, we've been engaging with some hotel owners, and the private sector has been doing it. I've seen him organize trips that are very cheap, where you engage the hotel owners to come up to create some small packages for the Ugandans. But also, for instance, those that want to go for safaris within the protected areas, who has come up with a very good package. Right now, you pay 20,000 to enter a park per interest, per single interest. But for instance, now, and we're going to be launching a campaign for it, you only pay 150,000 shillings, and you're able to enter these parks throughout the year, even if you enter 1,000 times on just the 150 of
on a single ticket.
One single ticket. So there are a number of things, but also trying to improve the infrastructure. Like I've said, still, that in Uganda today, if you're Ugandan, even with the smallest car, if you have your VITs, you can put in small fuel and be able to access almost every protected area in this country. But we are saying it's not enough, and we are dealing with the Minister of Finance. There are some allocations for this financial year that are coming in, and we shall be focusing still on bettering the road network to the tourism sites and places, but also to focus on because there are so many products that we've not developed, the source of the Nile, even the equator. If you look at it, I mean,
yeah,
it's just there is nothing much.
So work in progress.
Work in progress. But we want to thank government because they, and of course, most importantly, His Excellency the President. We call him the #1 marketeer of Destination Uganda because he's looking at the sector so much. They are focusing a number of resources to it, especially even in terms of creating awareness. People do not know what this country has to offer. Very few know. I mean, listen, we're just talking about trying to show Ugandans that you can imagine there is if you went to the Rwenzori's on top, there is snow. You'd actually think you're in Europe. So equally trying to create, give us some good resource so we can market this destination, create the right environment, provide the right security, and I think the security forces to make everything easier for the Ugandan.
The budget is not enough, the allocation. This financial, you're getting about 181 billion shillings.
Of course, for all
the Ministry and Tourism Board.
For the Ministry, UTB, Uganda Wildlife, UWA.
Yeah, that's quite some good sum.
No, and actually, no, interestingly, most of it goes to UWA because of paying staff and the rest. The rest of the sectors, we get around maybe 17 billion as a ministry. UTB gets around maybe 16. It has to market, it has to do. It's really not so much to put out there. For instance, if you wanted to market internationally, that would be nothing. But of course, vis-a-vis how much this sector brings into the country, because you cannot say this is a sector that brings in around 1.5 billion shillings in terms of revenue. By the way, with less advertising, with less aggressiveness, we are able to bring in that. But if you look at the NDP3 plan and the rest, for instance, and if you looked at a number of countries, let's say just within Africa, South Africa is not so different from us, maybe just because of the beaches, because of the ocean. But they bring in around $10 billion annually just from tourism. So what I'm saying is, if we focused a little bit on this sector, marketed it aggressively, showed what, and developed a number of products, we already have a number of projects lined up, then we can change this figure from 1.5 to around 3 billion. 3 billion would be a crazy amount of money for us and would change this country.
All right. Thank you, Honorable. We're coming back. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we're going to talk about other areas of tourism where we can put focus. For example, there are countries that I know, you know them, you have traveled. Those countries do not have wildlife, they don't have water bodies as we do here, but they sell history. You pay a lot of money, sit in a bus, they drive you around, tell you stories, and you pay dollars or euros. And and I'm like, we have even, you know, much more history than these people here. So how can we tap into that? And secondly, we'll talk about our museums.
Oh, yeah.
I know that they're not doing well. They're using the same budget. Yeah, that's under Minister of Tourism, Antiquities, and same budget. Yeah, I've seen community museums, even the National Museum. There's still some work to do. Some really much work to do. So let's take a short break. You're watching Uganda First. We're coming back. All right, welcome back. You are watching Uganda First. My name is Frank Walesembi. In studio, I am with Honorable Bahinduka Magara Martin, the State Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, and Isaiah Jobs Rwenyikiro, the CEO and founder of Breathtaking Uganda. We're talking about Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Why the Pearl? How do we keep the Pearl moving? There's that line on our aircrafts that I like, fly the Pearl, fly the crane
to the Pearl.
To the Pearl. It's a beautiful one. But before we proceed here in studio, let's listen to some of the people we spoke to about this same topic, Uganda. Why the Pearl of Africa?
I am a Ugandan. I'm so Ugandan, and I'm proud of being one. There's so much I can tell my country about. Number one is we have the equator. Once I travel, when I'm traveling to the western part of the country, the equator is there. And when I'm traveling to the northern part of the country, we have Mashishon Falls National Game Park, where you see all wild animals live. You don't have to pay, but you see it with your own eyes. And then we have high mountains. We have so many lakes. We have the Great Lakes in Uganda here, that's Lake Victoria. We have a very long river, that's River Nile, which starts here. So there is so much I can sell my country. We have mountain gorillas. It's all found in Uganda. Everybody in the world has really to come into Uganda.
Negomba nnyo Kabale oje bayita Lake Bunyonyi. Negomba okulaba ku Sipi Falls, Kapchora. Negomba okubeerako mu mabiro omwo, Mabira Forest. Negomba ne olusozi olwa Rwenzori.
Queen Elizabeth National Park, for the kind of wildlife that is within it, the buffaloes and the others, the elephants, and again, Wind Impenetrable Forest for the good chimpanzees and the others, then River Nile for the good scenery, the good waters, and again, Rwenzori Mountain, as it is also a good scenery for the country that at least can sell the country. So for any tourists that would love to come within the country, at least I can yarn them to go and visit Rwenzori Mountain.
Kasubi Tombo, ago masiro gali awo. Omuntu abere naga kanzije Uganda ndabe baziika gundi ne gundi mu bifonge ebyo. Enamugongo engeri gye bakolayo nayo ne tweyongera okutereezaamu. We have the places, just we need innovation and being innovative.
Nandyagadde ogendako ku Action Falls, nandyagadde ogendako ku Uganda Museum kubanga ina ebintu bingi ebyenjawulo. Nandyagadde ogendako ku Bujagaali, nendabako n'oluguudo lwaffe olupya. Nandyagadde n'ogendako mu forest, most especially Mabira Forest.
Budongo, quite many. Where you can.
Imaramagambo. Imaramagambo is the Runyankore equivalent of Breathtaking Uganda. Imaramagambo is the one that takes the words out of your mouth.
Chimazeko nebigambo. I like that. I like that. Thank you for watching Uganda First, brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co. They're our partners here, and we talk so much about patriotism and how Ugandans can be patriotic. You know, loving this country, going to see some of the things, it's also patriotic.
Definitely.
It is.
And want to thank them for even sponsoring the show. And,
no, they do.
And a number of them.
They do.
A number of other things. Can I say something?
Yes.
For me, who has traveled around Uganda and who every day interfaces with Ugandans, this is the reason I wear this flag. So
I like your style.
Yeah, and many Ugandans are doing this. You've seen pictures, young people, wherever they go, they go with the flag. But I think this is an insight. Ugandans actually love Uganda. But the messaging, I believe the messaging, the way we've been talking to them, we were not hitting the bull's eye. We need to speak to them based on the things they're interested in. And that way, we shall be able to align our messaging in such a way that we get Ugandans to understand how to love Uganda, how to be patriotic, and how to, enjoy Uganda. Recently, the president said to Uganda, "Tanse kumuomera." I think for many Ugandans today, Uganda tanse kuwanyumira.
Okay, yeah, good one. Honorable Bahinduka, I would like to. Before you leave this ministry and your senior minister, I would like us to see selling history as well. You know, the way Europeans are doing it. We spend a lot of money, buy air tickets and go to Germany, I don't know, Netherlands, Japan, wherever, and we listen to stories. And we board and come back after listening to stories. And yet in Uganda, we have even more powerful stories. Have you thought of tapping into that as well?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You see now there's been, and I want to thank government, that there's been some good focus now onto this sector. And for instance, if you went to the museum, Mr. Olsen, I would tell you that the current Maganda dance is not actually the original one. There are videos of the actual Maganda dance shot in 1903. The real original, and they are there. They are trying to digitize them, and I want to thank the development partners that have come up to support the ministry to make sure that we have this history digitized, therefore protected much better with backups and the rest. So there is a lot, and like I'm saying, with the much more government support, and even thank God that now we are having a much more vibrant private sector that understands tourism well, that is not only conservative now, young people with aggressive ideas and aggressive products, to see how we partner together and make the sector grow, but also encourage the Ugandan to travel and love this country more. Yes, and like I'm saying, we are going to continue focusing, develop the museum better, probably even have some showcasing every once a while, maybe every weekend, every once a month, where Ugandans can come and actually see what used to happen before.
I know, Honorable, there is a National Museum Day where the National Museum and other community museums come together. They showcase that one day gear. But that event is not as much publicized as I would have expected.
I agree, and not only for the museum, for a number of things. And also I'm saying that definitely, first of all, having a product is one thing, marketing it is another. We have to focus on marketing so much. And like I'm saying, I want to thank government that now they are allocating some more resources so we can be able to run adverts on NTV and the rest. But also, of course, the media players, even the Ugandans. Like I'm saying, marketing shouldn't only be the responsibility of me, Martin, as a minister. It should be everyone's responsibility, every Ugandan, you the traveler. That's why we keep saying that if you travel tweet, share about where you've been. So let it be everyone's responsibility to talk about the beauty of this country. But I agree with you, a lot of awareness needs to be done. But we're also digitizing. You know, it has also not been easy to have this history brought out in the form that it was. It would be a bit risky. It could be whatever would happen and would lose everything. So that's why I'm saying we're focusing on digitizing. We've, I think, moved to almost 50% of what we've had in the museums already put in a much better format, and we are left with around maybe 50%. And as soon as we have all that, then we can easily display this information without any fear of having it lost. But still, we are working around resources to make the process even much faster, so we can have this process maybe done in 1 or 2 years, and then we have everything out there for the Ugandan. But I can assure you, there is a lot that we need to do, and we are working around the corner, and with support, especially from the private sector. And for instance, I would want to say something small. You see now we have social media all over the place. I mean, we have so many Ugandans who tweet only negativity about
True.
Uganda.
True.
I mean, even something I was telling people, for instance, someone was supposed to come here, a lead kickboxer, I don't know, I think it's called Proyo, those who watch kickboxing, big time champion. And he's supposed to come here in December to visit the battle.
This year?
This year. That was a suggestion. Because after winning the fight, I mean, he stood and said, we're all shocked out of nowhere. I'm going to go to Uganda, to a place called Bundibujo, and build some accommodation for the Batwa people. Batwa. And I'll go with you can imagine, he's dealing with Manny Pacquiao and the rest. You can imagine how much spotlight they would have focused on this country if they were here. But if you go down and read the comments that are on his page after he said it, people were discouraging him. Don't even step to Uganda. And these are Ugandans. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we have to go beyond our political affiliations and look at the country better. I mean, we are from different parties and the rest, but when this money comes in, it helps us. It helps us develop this country. So we have to have, and I want to thank God, we are being supported by the Patriotic Secretariat. Ugandans used to be patriotic. I mean, this country is for them. For instance, we have issues to do with human wildlife conflict. Today, actually, we're even going to Mbale for the rest, to make sure that the communities around these parks don't poach. I mean, love these animals and the rest. And all we keep saying to them is, come on. These animals do not belong to Uwa, do not belong to Martin. They are for you. What we are doing is just holding them in trust for you, the Ugandan people, so that your kids can enjoy, your grandchildren can enjoy. So it's everyone's responsibility, not only me, Martin, as a person in the ministry, not only as Isaiah, but for every Ugandan to love this country, market it, protect the species, protect the culture, and make sure that the next generations can find this.
Isaiah, we once had an episode here or two where we spoke in depth about using social media responsibly. Maybe you can stress it further, because it is my responsibility as a Ugandan to talk well about my country, invite people to come and visit and have a good experience. You're the person who deals with the young people mostly on social media. Mm-hmm. Their responsibility as citizens
you see,
when it comes to marketing the country.
You see, this is what I believe as a person, that many of these young people have acquired, and let me tell you something, the people that make the highest amount of noise, and let me put it in perspective. Mm. In one of the speeches that I listened to, one of Obama's speeches, he mentioned something that's very profound. He says, if Wall Street in New York cannot work in tandem with the down street New York, eventually the down street people will burn up Wall Street. So I think many of these young people, out of frustration, out of a bit of resentment, because some of them I think are probably not fully employed, but they have access to smartphones, because today, even with the 100,000, you can have a smartphone. With 500 shillings, you can put data.
The fact is, we have more access to mobile phones than toilets.
Than toilets. Mm. So I believe, from the interactions I've had with these young people, and I ask them, they say, oh, we are frustrated. You see, these young people are trying to communicate to the big people that we are here, don't ignore us. Mm. And because they cannot effectively deliver this message to them, they choose to, what we call, sometimes called passive aggression. Sometimes, they are fighting back in their own way. So they use these opportunities, and because they know when they send this message, it will hurt the big people. It will make them question, why are these people talking like this? Because it's like they are provoking. These comments are extremely provocative. But that is the only tool this right that I may call not so privileged people have. So to address these issues, someone needs to address these people, to go and talk to them and say, why are you communicating like, what are the existential problems making you have this negative mindset? And I believe, when we've had this discussion with the Honorable Minister, that domestic tourism is one of those solutions, because this is why I'm saying this. Many of these young people that have smartphones that we have engaged actually are now creating small packages, and we send them, we strategically work with them, we send them tourists in Jinja, when you go to Sowoko Falls, when you go to Amavereganyinamwiri in Fort Poto, or any of these non-gazetted tourism hotspots like Sipi Falls, like Aru Falls, like the small falls that are little unknown. We've seen people, young people sit in falls, drink beer and do this and that. The guides there. There are these so-called young, restless people. If you give them something constructive to do, trust me, you will stem the flow of the negative information.
But the fact is that not every person on social media is going to be approached by a government official like him. But I know that there has to be responsibility. When I get the phone, when I log in to Facebook or Twitter, whichever space I use, how do I effectively communicate without damaging?
And you see, the other thing that Uganda needs to probably, these are the first principles. Let's go the first principles. Do you realize that there are so many unregulated things in Uganda? Don't talk about the young people that are
in media?
Even in media, but even around the media spaces. Do you realize that in Uganda, for example, today, the border riders are raw unto themselves? They flagrantly break all the traffic rules and get away with it. So what does that communicate? The traffic on the roads, our drivers are some of the worst drivers. In no minute they will create 10 lanes where there's supposed to be 1 lane, and no one stops them. So there's this behavior of where people go against the conventional standard operating procedures, and no one enforces the law. So it cuts across. It's not just these young people. If you want to caution or probably bring to order these young people, then do it across the board. Let there be order in traffic, let there be order on the roads, let there be, so that then we move process systematically.
The Minister wants to supplement, but before, let's use just a minute or two and look at the comments that come in. Okay, well, let him arrange. We'll get back to them. Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Alsimbi. And probably just to slightly disagree with my brother Isaiah. I know we've had these discussions. Responsible, because I can assure you, you see, political affiliations will not change today. And in every political contestation, there will be a winner and a loser. So political differences will stay, for the next 1,000 years. It will not change. So for you to carry your political discontent to the extent of let me lose everything, because you see, for instance, and just giving a small scenario, if you said these communities that surround the protected areas, for instance, if you went around Makchon Falls, if you look at how much money these guys get, the 20% collections of entry fees, just 20%.
It goes back to the community.
To the communities around. You find just a district like Ulisa getting 1.4 billion. Not the entire district, only the community, the parishes that are surrounding the parks. Do you know how much money this would go to transform, how much this would transform these communities out there? So that's what I'm saying. So when someone just sits here and says, no, you know what, let everyone lose because I disagree politically, most of this dissatisfaction is actually more of political than anything else. So that's what I'm saying. We should have a time for the politics and a time now to say, okay,
to build the country. To
build the country, because now this is a sector that is employing over 600,000 Ugandans. We would want it to go to 1 million Ugandans. Almost 10% of the employed people in this country are within the tourism sector. But someone says, I don't care. come on, I mean, even if we lost, for instance, like what I was telling you, someone is saying, I want to go and do something good for the Batwa community that are struggling. Come on, these people used to live in the forests, and Ugandan says because he supports Snoop down there, he says, no, no, no. I mean, who loses? Is it me? It is the other person down there. So that's what I'm saying.
Or the hotels in Bundibujo Kabale.
The hotels in Bundibujo Kabale
lost money in the process.
Yes, but even if you were to take power, you coming forward within the opposition, you will find something good. What? So you want to lose everything and then take over what?
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. There should be some kind of, yes, I agree there is discontent. It never ends. Come on, that is part of society always. But let's have some responsibility. But of course, what we are saying as well as a ministry, and I want to thank so many people that tweet positive about this country. Even the foreigners, I mean, you look at them talking about, you saw the other guy, we invited him here actually, the one who was in Olympics who talked good so about the country, the beautiful people, how welcoming they are. So what we are saying as a ministry as well, we're also going to put out a lot of content that is positive to counter the negative, because the negative will never go away. It's part of the Ugandans now to
you need to be aggressive as well.
Of course, in partnership with you, but I want to thank so many Ugandans that are tweeting about this beautiful country every single day, and I want to encourage them, please continue tweeting. There are so many people that appreciate, and they are still coming.
Isaiah, you want to add something in line?
One day, President Jacques Chirac, there was a
patriotic use of social media.
One day, President Jacques Chirac, a man that I used to follow quite profoundly, you remember there's a time in France they were discontent. In France.
The modern times or back then?
Even the modern times. Even recently.
Of recent?
When young people were almost burning up Paris. You remember?
Yes. In
the north of France. And there were these immigrants, and there were all these frustrations from the immigrants in France, many from the North African, as a result of the Arab Spring. So let's look at the big picture. What did France do? Or what eventually, for example, the Arab Spring? You know why the Arab Spring came up? It was discontent of these young people. And these frustrations are real. And I would like to say, Honorable Minister, please listen to these young people. Address their issues now. Listen to them, talk to them, engage them. These are not per se they are not per se negative-minded people. They are just, I think, trying to say that
to express themselves.
Listen to us. We are here. Don't ignore us. Listen to us. Let's talk. When they provoke, they are telling you, don't push us to the sidelines of what?
So you want each one of them to be approached individually?
You see the government, this Emyoga and all these other interventions, the youth fund and all the penetration. That tells you that the penetration has not been effective.
Okay.
It means that there are pockets of people you're not effectively reaching.
All right.
So let the Patriotism Club or the National Patriotism Corps actually take up this as one of their assignments. Say, these young people, because me, I'm a psychologist. When your wife is not happy in your home, she will do things, she may never even tell you this, but she will put the food, and the way she has cooked it, you look at it, and
it communicates something.
It communicates something. So
thank
likewise.
Thank you, Isaiah. Mr. Sebakija, are we ready with the comments? Okay. All right. Why is it little effort is put in promoting religious tourism? Many don't know the first minor basilica in sub-Saharan Africa is in Uganda, and many of these sites lack good accommodation and proper facility. The minister is here. Paimol in Kitugum and Birinze Shrine in Masaka. There are so many. There are so many. He has a point. Okay, it seems we have a challenge. We have a technical challenge there. I'm seeing icons I am not supposed to see. We have just 2 minutes to finish this. Honorable Minister.
But just like he said about, that's what I'm saying, there's a lot that needs to be promoted from the very beautiful mosques that we have, I mean, to the shrines, all of them. It's still a lot. Even the others, I mean, the Bujagali, the old man who passed on, that kind of religion as well. I mean, a lot can be, because that's the indigenous African religion. So that's what I'm saying. Of course, we are trying to market a number of, but also create a number of products that can help easily capture the mind of the Ugandan to travel with ease and of course,
we are not yet into this local tourism as much. I always challenge the corporates living in areas of Namugongo, Naya, Nigeria.
Oh, yes.
Many of these guys who work in top offices have never been to the Namugongo shrine, the two shrines. They've never been there.
Oh, yes.
But they've lived within the same area for over 5 years, some even close to 10 years.
Ages. I agree, and of course, like I said, thank God that His Excellency has given all of us a part of the young generation, so that we can interact better and see how we find solutions, mingle together, and see how
we need some noise, some good noise from the tourism ministry.
Don't worry, we're working upon it, and you're going to see a lot of it.
All right, gentlemen, we have run short of time. Unfortunately, we cannot take the comments. All right, well, thank you for those of you who were able to send in through WhatsApp, and those of you following on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much. It is just 1 minute to the top of the hour. I thank you, Honorable, from the Ministry of Tourism, Honorable Bahindu Kamgara, and Isaiah Jobs, Breathtaking Uganda.
Thank you.
I wish you well, and I hope that the path to recovery is going to be even better next year, when the economy opens up fully, as we are told. All right, have a good afternoon. Thank you for watching. My name is Franco Lisimbi.